Hi, and welcome to the Eval Thursdays with Zelexio. Today we're doing part 2 on how to create a rubric with our platform, so let's go. First, I want you to connect to your Zelexio account. And once connected, we are going to go in the evaluation rubric section. Here, just to mention from part 1, you do have this section here where you can choose different rubrics from Zelexio rubrics that you can view them. You can definitely add them to your own rubrics, and then you can modify them to your specific assessment needs depending on the learning situation. You also have access to the rubrics from the MEC, which is the Ministry of Education of Quebec, that again, you can view, you can add them to your own rubrics, and you can modify them to your specific assessment needs. You also have access to the shared rubrics, which all of the users from the expert accounts have access to. You can share throughout any level, anywhere around the world. You can share grids that have been made, you can collaborate on them, and then you can modify them to your specific needs. For today's purpose, we are going to go back to my rubrics. As you can see, let's explain the actions that are offered to you once a rubric has been made. So you can duplicate them as many times as you want. So you can duplicate the same rubric, you can change the ponderation, the value of certain elements, and then there you go, you have a new rubric. So you can duplicate them as much as you want, and then you can definitely modify them to your specific assessment needs. You can view them. You also have access to sharing them. So this is where the sharing aspect comes. You simply enter the email of the expert account user, and then they will get them in their shared rubrics, and then they can work on them, send it back to you, and use it, modified, vice versa. Here you can send your rubrics to all of your students. So with the expert account, all of your students have account for their own. So they can do evaluation, peer evaluation, they can do a self-assessment, they have access to all of their evaluations, all of their grids, all at the same place. So you do have that option to send them ahead of time so they can always go back to the rubric and know exactly what your pedagogical intention is with a specific learning situation. And of course, you can delete them at all times. So for the purpose of today's video, part 2, we are going to go back into creating a rubric. Here you get to select the subject, of course, the competency that you will be evaluating with this rubric, and you can write a title. As for the subject, we will be discussing this in another Eval Thursdays with Zelexio video in the following weeks, so stay tuned on our YouTube channel. Here you have the choice of adding competency level scales. You can remove them depending again on your specific needs. It's really an elastic that you get to use. Make it personalized to your own needs. So here you can definitely change if you want the rating, you can put a number, you can put a letter, you can put a symbol. It's really up to you. You can also give a specific value to the level scale. Again, you do have the option of choosing how it's published. Once it's published, you are the boss of what your students see. So you can have an evaluation that is numerical, alphanumerical, summative, formative. You have that option, but we will discuss that in another video. But for the purpose here, we will give a value for this competency level scale. Here you do have the criterion, which you can write, of course, what you are evaluating. And if you see the little blue box, this is where we do have the observable indicators. We have over 900 in our database that you have access to, that you can use at all times, or you can write your own. Here you have the definition of your competency element that you can describe. You can definitely copy and paste, something that we will do it here. I will just take, so I do apologize. I have the French version in front of me, so I will copy and paste it here just for the purpose of this video. And then of course, you can write your own. You can describe the element to your own evaluation needs and pedagogical intentions. After that, you will give a ponderation for that specific criterion, because of course, sometimes you might be evaluating a bit more specific on a specific aspect than everything the same value. But if you want that, you can, okay? You are the boss of the platform and your own evaluation needs. Once that is done, you can add a criterion, as many as you want, and then we click on save, and there you go. That's how you end up having as many grids as I. And then, of course, once it's made, you go back to these different actions that you can do. You can duplicate them, you can send them, you can view them. You can also share them with your students or your colleagues or any other user from the expert account. So thank you for listening. Hopefully this clears up a couple of things and you get to experience the technological aspects of Zelexio. In our next video, we will approach on how to start an evaluation. So thank you for listening. See you next time.